Thank you, Carol Anderson, and thank you to the Illinois Railway Museum for the use of their beautiful antique bell. Good morning and welcome to the 10th anniversary memorial of the 9/11 attacks. Each of the 2,977 flags represents a victim of the terrorist attacks in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Flight 93 that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. This day of prayer and remembrance gives us an opportunity to pause and pay tribute to the innocent victims, the first responders who prevented further loss, and the service members who have been fighting ever since to safeguard our country. Would everyone please rise as the Sun City Huntley Marines present the colors and lead the Pledge of Allegiance. The group includes men and women veterans from World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Forward, march. Left, 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 tongue left, punch, left, 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 guard, halt, right, right. Present the colors, post them. Present, come. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all. Order, come. Fort, color guard in formation. Left, right. Forward, march. Left, left, left. Column left, march. Left, 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 guard, halt.
Would everyone remain standing as our own Sun City Sun Tones perform the Star-Spangled Banner and America? They have been performing for the past 7 years, both locally and throughout the northwest suburbs.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly Let rocks their silence break, the sounds prolong. Sweet freedom song.
Maureen Samuelson is a resident of Sun City, Huntley, and Air Business Director for WGN Radio. He will present the 9/11 narrative. The 9/11 narrative was written by Huntley Library Susan Riddle Mojica. The bell will be played by Ryan Sheehan and Carol Anderson.
September 11th, 2001. 7:59 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 6:59 here. Across the nation, the day dawned clear and cool. Many of us were waking up, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, starting our days in the typical American way. Coffee in the news, weather forecast predicted sunshine and clear blue skies, with forecast highs around 80 degrees. Hurricane Erin had blown out to sea and was no longer menacing the East Coast. It promised to be a beautiful day. In Boston, 81 passengers and 11 crew members board American Airlines Flight 11. The flight is fully fueled for his cross-country trip to Los Angeles. We did not know the tragedy was bearing down on us. We did not know that at that very moment, among the passengers were 5 hijackers waiting to turn Flight 11 into an instrument of terror. We did not know that the memory of this date was fated to be changed forever. 8:14 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Flight 11 is hijacked and turned toward Manhattan. 5 minutes later, flight attendants Betty Ong and Madeline Mary Sweeney alert American Airlines, calling to the ground from one of the crew phones. Mrs. Ong reports, "The cockpit is not answering. Somebody is stabbed in business class. And I think that there's mace. We can't breathe. I don't know, but I think we're getting hijacked." The information the 2 flight attendants calmly provide is instrumental in the FBI investigation. At that same moment, 51 passengers, 9 crew members, and 5 hijackers board United Airlines Flight 175. 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, 7:20 here. American Airlines Flight 77 boards 53 passengers, 6 crew members, and 5 hijackers. 8:37 a.m. Eastern Time, Air Traffic Control alerts the military to the day's first hijacking of Flight 11. Air National Guard jets are sent to locate and tail the hijacked plane. 5 minutes later, 8:42 a.m., 33 passengers, 7 crew members, and 4 hijackers Board San Francisco-bound United Airlines, Flight 93. At 8:45 a.m., 7:45 here, hijackers take over United Airlines Flight 175 and turn it toward Manhattan. 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 and its 11 crew members, 76 passengers, and 5 hijackers crash into the World Trade Center's North Tower. As the plane plows through the building at 466 miles per hour, its impact severs all emergency stairwells above the 91st floor, trapping the nearly 1,400 people who were working there. Burning jet fuel funnels lines of liquid fire down the elevator shafts. Within minutes across the nation, many of us hear the somber words. We interrupt this regularly scheduled program for a special announcement. Breaking news from New York. On screen, red-hot flames and reams of thick black smoke pour from gashes high in one of the twin towers. Cameras closer to the building show thousands and thousands of sheets of paper from the damaged offices floating aloft in thermals created by the flames. CNN anchor Carol Lynn is the first to break the news. This just in. You are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center. And we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story, obviously calling our sources and trying to figure out exactly what happened. But clearly, something relatively devastating happening this morning there on the south end of the island of Manhattan. Flames burn at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Within minutes, trapped and overwhelmed by dense smoke and rising heat, people above the crash zone begin to leap from broken windows. They jump alone, in pairs, and in groups. Over the next hour and a half, until the collapse of the building, witnesses report a constant stream of people making that desperate leap from the doomed tower. 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time in Sarasota, Florida, President Bush is informed that a plane has hit the World Trade Center. At 8:54 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 is hijacked and is reversed toward Washington, D.C. 5 minutes later, United Flight 175 passenger Brian Sweeney, a former U.S. Navy pilot, leaves this message for his wife. Hi, Jules, it's Brian. Listen, I'm on an airplane that's just been hijacked. If things don't go well, and it's not looking good, I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. Go have a good time. The same to my parents and everybody, and I just totally love you. And I'll see you when you get there. Bye, babe. 9:02 Eastern Time, the Port Authority begins the evacuation of the South Tower. Survivors report walking carefully down the dark, smoky stairs, joined hand in hand because they could not see more than a hand's length ahead. 9:03 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 8:03 here. Flying at 587 miles per hour, United Flight 175, carrying 51 passengers, 9 crew members, and 5 hijackers, crashes into the World Trade Center's South Tower. Its impact on floors 77 through 85 creates a massive fireball, severs 2 of 3 emergency stairwells, and damages the elevators. Thousands watch as cameras trained on the damaged North Tower capture the impact and the resulting devastation on live television. 9:07 Eastern Time from the 101st floor of the North Tower. 31-year-old Melissa Harrington Hughes calls her sleeping newlywed husband in San Francisco to say goodbye. Her words, "Sean, it's me. I just wanted to let you know I love you. And I'm stuck in this building in New York. A plane hit the building or a bomb went off, we don't know. But there's lots of smoke and I just wanted you to know I love you." 9:10 a.m., trapped in standstill traffic in the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, Eric Trolson snaps a photo of Squad 1 firefighter Gary Box in the last minutes of his life, running in full gear through the stopped cars toward Ground Zero. As almost 15,000 frightened people streamed from the area, emergency responders, firefighters, police, and paramedics run into the danger, into the buildings, up those dark and smoke-filled staircases, their bravery and their knowledge saving thousands of lives. 9:15 a.m., in the midst of this overwhelming horror, there was still room for kindness. At the base of the South Tower, people who have walked down hundreds of steps, including many women who are realizing that their high-heeled shoes are a hindrance to their safe evacuation, are met at ground level by Foot Locker employees ignoring the danger, handing out sneakers to all who need them. 9:28 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, United Airlines Flight 93 is hijacked and rerouted towards Washington, D.C. President Bush is en route to the Sarasota airport to board Air Force One. 9:37, American Airlines Flight 77, loaded with 49,990 pounds of fuel, crashes into the western side of the Pentagon, killing 53 passengers, 6 crew members, and 5 hijackers on board the plane, and 125 civilian and military personnel in the building. 9:42 a.m., the Federal Aviation Agency grounds all commercial airliners. 9:45 a.m., the U.S. Capitol and the West Wing of the White House are evacuated. 9:57 a.m., on Flight 93, 13 passengers are able to call officials or loved ones. 6 of the passengers are alerted to the attacks on the Twin Towers. Jeremy Glick calls his wife Lizbeth and tells her some of the passengers plan to take a vote about how to proceed, and joked about taking on the hijackers with the butter knives from their in-flight breakfast. They decide to try and take control of the plane. On the phone relaying information to a United Airlines customer service representative, Todd Beamer's last audible words, "Are you guys ready? Let's roll." 9:59 a.m. After burning for 56 minutes, the South Tower collapses in 10 seconds, killing approximately 600 workers and first responders in the building and the surrounding area. A tidal wave of dust and debris rains from the sky and engulfs those seeking to escape the area. 10:03 a.m., that's 9:03 here, United Flight 93, which passengers were attempting to retake, crashes in a field 80 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. Witnesses report seeing the plane rolling from side to side and rapidly climbing and diving right before the crash. It is believed that the hijackers were attempting to knock passengers and crew off balance as they stormed the cockpit. The rest of the White House and other federal office buildings in Washington are evacuated. 10:15 a.m., the damaged section of the Pentagon's outermost offices, known as the E-Ring, collapses. As the west side of the building burns, the National Military Command Center, located on the east side of the Pentagon, coordinates the U.S. military response to the 9/11 attacks. 10:28 a.m. After burning for 102 minutes, The World Trade Center's North Tower collapses, killing approximately 1,400 in the building and the surrounding area. Miraculously, 14 people, 13 first responders and 1 civilian in the stairwell survived the collapse. Firefighter Lieutenant Mickey Cross was one of the survivors. After the collapse, first there is a few moments of profound silence. Then, to his relief, he can hear the others begin to call out, "He is not alone." And then he notices, and I quote, "The strangest thing happened. This beam of sunlight came right in on us, like about 8 inches long, but it was clearly sunlight. It was all dirty and full of debris. It looked like pepper was falling around in it, sort of, but it was sunlight. I'm amazed now. A 110-story building fell on us, and I'm looking up at the sun." 11:02 a.m., Mayor Rudy Giuliani orders the evacuation of Lower Manhattan. 12:16 Eastern Daylight Time, the last commercial flight in continental United States airspace has landed. In about 2 hours and 30 minutes, air traffic controllers safely guide down 3,000 commercial flights and 1,200 private planes, stranding thousands of passengers far from their intended destinations. 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Thomas Franklin captures an image of the unconquerable American spirit when he snaps a photograph of firefighters George Johnson, Dan McWilliams, and Billy Eisengrine raising the American flag against a background of the devastation at Ground Zero. 5:20 Eastern Time, adjacent to the North Tower and heavily damaged by its collapse and the long-burning fire, the 47-story building, World Trade Center number 7, collapses, endangering the lives of emergency crews at the site. Thankfully, no one is injured. 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 7:30 here, President Bush addresses the nation. In his 4-minute speech, he states, "A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve." 12:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, September 12th. The last survivor, Janelle Guzman McMillan, is pulled from the wreckage of the North Tower. Search and recovery operations continue for another 230 days. The aftermath. 2,977 people were killed in the attacks. 343 firefighters and paramedics were killed. 23 New York police officers killed. 37 Port Authority police officers were killed. 1,402 employees died in the North Tower. 614 employees died in the South Tower. 115 nations had citizens who were killed in the attacks. 1,717 families received no remains. 1,609 people lost a spouse or a partner in the attacks. 3,051 children lost one parent. 17 babies were born to women whose husbands were lost. 2.5-year-old Christine Lee Hansen was the youngest victim. 85-year-old Robert Grant Norton was the oldest victim. Father Michael Judge was the first official victim, hit by falling debris while administering the last rites to a firefighter. 52 million people knew someone who died in the attacks. 36,000 units of blood were donated to the New York Blood Center. 1.5 million tons of debris was removed from ground zero. And fires continued to burn for 99 days after the attack. On the morning of September 11th, 2001, we did not know the tragedy bearing down on us. We did not know that America would be the victim of a heinous crime. We did not know that the memory of this date would be forever changed. On that fateful day, America showed heroism in ways large and small. We know now the fragility of human life and the indomitability of the human spirit. We know that in times of trial, we draw together. We know that in the face of adversity and against overwhelming odds, we are strong people. We know that we truly are the land of the free and the home of the brave.